What's up guys, it's Subsy here, and Samsung finally updated the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 to Android 10, and this has been delayed for ages. Android 10 came out last year, Android 11 is in preview, but we finally got the update, and spoiler, it's a bit underwhelming, but I'll go through the features that I've noticed that have improved, and some of the things that I found a bit iffy, and there's not much that has actually changed, but let's get into it. Okay, so here we are. Let's just start with the normal Android 10 features, which are sort of normal across every Android 10 device. Now you have dark mode, and if you guys know, One UI before had a dark mode. This is just a bit more refined than the other one was, so it's across more areas. The actual shades of grey are different, and they're just more consistent across the entire UI. And you'll see more of that as we go through the UI of this. And it also has like digital well-being stuff, so you can just jump into the settings here and see what you use, set timers for apps, and do various different things, which I'm not going to go into the details of these features because you can find them online pretty much on any Android 10 video. It also has the smart reply from notifications, so if you get a message you can see some like smart reply suggestions. It has better location and privacy controls, so somewhere around here, so you have the privacy and location settings. They're a lot more refined, same as like security stuff, so when it comes to allowing permissions, so when you're in an app you can just give it permissions whilst it's open, or all the time, or no permissions at all. It's just a lot more refined. You also have the better battery statistics, which are somewhere in the device care section, so it sort of tells you your like battery storage stuff. You can optimize the device a bit more by clicking the button. I'm not entirely sure what that does. I haven't really used this much, but it's there if you do want to use it or if you find it useful. And then we have the new gestures. Now this for me is like a bit of a thing that I was waiting for. This was the key feature that I wanted on this device, because I was used to the gestures on my Pixel device and I wasn't really finding the Samsung ones of swiping up around here and then another one over here and then the back button being on this side. I didn't find that useful, and for me I just kept on swiping in from the side and sort of hoping it would go back. But now you can change that, and you can, if you just jump into the display options, then the navigation bar, and then toggle the different types, so go from the Samsung ones to the Android ones, so now you can, the entire screen just sort of acts the same as it does on a phone, so you have back to go back from the side. If I just get rid of that, and then again you can do it from the other side as well. It's just a lot more intuitive, and it's the same experience now on my phone and the tablet. But the issue that I have here is that my preferred launcher is Nova Launcher, especially on like a Samsung device, because I'm not really a fan of the Samsung default launcher. And as you see, if I jump into Nova Launcher here, it looks a lot better. So if I flip it up, it looks a lot better. Everything just sort of fits a bit more. But if I set it as my default launcher, then let me just do that here, set it as default. And again switch it back here, you see I got the notification just there, and that pretty much says that my system navigation gestures are now disabled, and that's because Nova Launcher doesn't support them. So it supports the Samsung one, so if I was to swipe in, so if I was to go to the settings and enable it to swipe in, then I could, but I can't enable the Android 10 gestures, which for me is a huge downside, because I really dislike the default Samsung launcher, which I'll get into in a minute. But as you can see, this one is a lot better. If I switch back to the Samsung one, so not entirely sure how to do this. Let's go here, let's take it off as a default. Let's do this, there we go. If so, now back in here I can update the system navigation again, go back to full screen gestures, do that. Everything's a bit cartoonish over here, everything's a bit big. This is the biggest grid you can have. I can't put any more icons in this, I can't change the size of the icon. Everything is just a bit too big and a bit too cartoonish. Now one new thing on this launcher is the Samsung Daily section, which again isn't great. It's like a bad version of the Google newsfeed. Like, I mean, just look at this entire section, this entire pretty much half of the display is just used to say hello, and I just see one picture, it's huge and nothing else, and then just basic stuff, and it's not that easy to customize. There's not much you can do to it. So then there are minor changes around the UI. There's differences here and there. So the notification drawer comes up from pretty much wherever you slide, so left, middle or right. Before it was just one big one from the middle, and that's a bit different. There are smoother animations across the UI, so opening and closing apps, for instance. I mean, they're just normal Android 10 stuff again. There is something weird, so when you change between apps, so when you're multitasking, so if I was to go into my last used app, and then if I tried to go to the previous app just using the Android gestures, and I was to do this, you can see that it doesn't move with my finger, it sort of moves ahead of time, and that's not really intuitive with me. Like, so if I just move it around, it's not really in line with my finger, and it just feels really weird. Because if you see on my Pixel, then it moves with the finger, so it's just sort of as you expect it to be, but that doesn't happen on the Samsung tablet. Now, some of the other features include better integration with other Samsung devices, so if you had a Samsung phone, sharing stuff and other stuff is quite a bit better. There's a better file manager with support for trash, if I can just find it. If I go here, and then there's a recycle bin, and I mean I have to turn it on, which I haven't actually done because I don't really use the file manager that often, but then it has support for better filters if you want to go here. That's a list view. Here we go. Then there's like support for filters, so you can like refine by type, or when they were like the files were created, or the type of file that it is based on the section that you're in. And then there's some more camera improvements, which I'm not really going to get into because, again, I don't value you having a camera on this at all, unless it's for like PDF uses, but the actual camera app itself, nobody's going to pick this up and take a picture of something useful. And then with the Samsung default keyboard, which I don't actually use, I use the Gboard keyboard. With the default one, there are some improvements there, so now you can have features to translate text, and there's more, so like you can integrate with your Spotify or with Netflix, and sort of I haven't actually done this, but let's do that. And then you can sort of like share a song or insert the name of the song, or just do stuff around that, which could be useful in some scenarios. Apart from that, not much has changed, and I still prefer to use the normal Gboard keyboard. Now, some of the stuff that hasn't actually improved at all are the facial recognition and the fingerprint sensor on this, so it's still quite sort of inconsistent for me at least, and it could just be me with like a faulty unit or something, because some people do find it quite accurate, but again some don't, so I think this could just be an issue per person. Now lastly, there's the Samsung DeX, which some people do use and some people don't care about at all. If I just enable it here, as you can see here, not much has changed. It looks pretty much the same. There are a few new things. One of the things that was the most annoying about this is that you couldn't snap a window. Now you can, so you can go here, do that, or to the top, or to the left. It's not always the best. So if I was to go to the Play Store and snap this, you can't resize from the center. It just sort of does one at a time. And then if you were to take this and put it to the top, you have to drag it over the top in a sense. If you just take it close and let go, it might not do anything. You have to take it over the top and then it expands. Now this doesn't take advantage at all yet of Android 10's hidden desktop mode, which is being built but it's sort of not official. This relies on the previous Samsung DeX mode. And again, like before, it would be better on a bigger display. You'd have sort of more room to move around, more stuff to do, and better for having windows floating about instead of just to the left or to the right. Or just if more apps supported this. So with Netflix, if you say resize and go to another app and the app's full screen, the Netflix actually pauses, it doesn't just keep on going. It's just not as normal as you'd expect with the desktop mode. So with the desktop mode, everything sort of continues running in the background. With this, it still sort of turns off, turns on, different stuff, and it's just sort of, in some cases it's guesswork. But that's pretty much it from what's new and what I've noticed that's useful to me or not useful. or just the stuff that I expected to happen with Android 10, but there's not much more to this. So I hope that was useful to you guys. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button to see more content, and as always, it's been Subsy here, and I'll see you guys next time.